Shabbat Shalom, everyone. We are praying from the Orange Prayer Book, Trumot HaLev, and we begin on page 46 with Ma Tovu, how good are your tents, O Jacob. Ma Tovu, Ohalecha Yaakov, Ohalecha Yaakov, Mishkenotecha Yisrael. Ma Tovu, Ohalecha Yaakov, Ohalecha Yaakov, Mishkenotecha Yisrael. Ba'ani berov chastecha avo beitecha eshtachave el heichal kodshecha be'yiratecha. Ma tovu ohalecha Yaakov, ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael. Ma tovu ohalecha Yaakov, ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael.
We turn to the bottom of page 51. These are the things that have no measure, leaving the corners of the field for the poor, the offering the first fruits to the priest, making pilgrimage to Jerusalem, acts of kindness and the study of the Torah. These are the things, the bounty which one consumes in this world, while the principle remains for us in the world to come, and they are honoring father and mother, acts of kindness, supporting the house of study, providing hospitality, visiting the sick, rejoicing with bride and groom, burying the dead, praying with intent, and bringing peace between two people. And the study of Torah is equal to them all. We continue on the next page with Elohai Neshama.
Elohai, Elohai, Neshama, Shenatata bi Tehorahi, Ata verata, Ata yetzarta, Ata nefachta bi. Me'ata meshamra bekirbi. Elohai, Elohai, neshama, shenatata bi tehorahi. On the next page, we have Nisim B'chol Yom, our daily miracles. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who has given my mind understanding to distinguish between day and night. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who has made me a Jew. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who has made me to be free. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who gives sight to those who cannot see. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who clothes the naked. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who frees the captives. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who raises those bowed low. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who spreads out the earth over the waters. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who provides for all my needs. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who makes firm each person's steps. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who girds Israel with strength. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who crowns Israel with splendor. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who gives strength to the weary. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who removes sleep from my eyes and slumber from my eyelids.
It's our great pleasure and honor to bring Ashley and Dan, Jack's parents, as they present him with this talit.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kichanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lihitatef b'tzitzit.
We continue with our Chetzi Kaddish, the top of page 62.
Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, be'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayin d'chol beit Yisrael, b'gala u'v'zman kariv v'yimeru. Amen. Yehi shemei rabbah mevarach, le'alam ul'almei almaya yitbarach. Yitbarach v'yishtabach, v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnasei, v'yithatar v'yitaleh v'yitalal, shemei dekudeshah. בריחו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, תאמירן בעלמה, ואמרו Amen.
For those who are able, we rise together, page 63.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, yotzer or uverei hoshe, oseh shalom uverei et hakol, hameir la'aretz v'ladarim alecha berachamim, uvtuvo mehadesh b'hol yom tamid ma'aseh v'reshid. Ma rabu ma'asecha Adonai, kulam behokma asita, malach ha'aretz kinyaneha, titbarak Adonai Eloheinu al shevach ma'aseh yadeha. Ve'al me'orei or she'asita yefaru hasela, or hadas al sion ta'ir, v'niskeh kulanu mehera le'oro, Baruch atah Adonai Yotzer HaMeorot. Now we turn to page 66 and read responsively. Lord Adonai, our God, you have loved us with an abundant love. You have taken bountiful care of us, sovereign source of our strength. Because our ancestors trusted you, you taught them the laws of life. Be kind to us and teach us.
O merciful one, have mercy upon us and incline our hearts to understand, to comprehend, to hear, to learn, to teach, and observe and hold all the words of your Torah's teaching with love.
Enlighten our eyes with your Torah. Let our hearts cling to your commandments and unite us to love and revere your name.
Then we will never be put to shame. We have placed our trust in your great, holy, and awesome name.
We will rejoice in your deliverance from the four corners of the earth. Bring us upright to our land in peace, for you are the author of every deliverance. In truth, you have chosen us and brought us close to your powerful name, to thank you and to lovingly proclaim your unity.
Blessed are you, Adonai, who has chosen your people Israel in love.
שבטחו בך בתלמדי חוקי חיים כן תכוננו ותלמדנו כן תכוננו ותלמדנו בתורתך ודבק ליבנו במצוותיך ויחל לבבינו לאהבה וליראה את שמך ולא נבוש ולא ניכלם ולא ניכשל הגדול והנורא פתחנו, נגילה ונשמחה בישועתך. ברוך אתה אדוני, הבוחר בעמו ישראל באהבה. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. ברוך שם כבוד מלכותו לעולם ועד.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם להיות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. I shall love Adonai my God with all my mind, with all my strength, and with all my being. I will set these words which you command me this day upon my heart. I will teach them faithfully to my children. I will speak of them in my home and on my way. When I lie down and when I rise up, I will bind them as a sign upon my hand. I will let them be a symbol before my eyes. I will inscribe them on the doorpost of my house and on my gates. I will be mindful of all your mitzvot and do them. So shall I consecrate myself to my God. You, Adonai, are my God, who led me out of Egypt to be my God. You, Adonai, are my God. Leman tiskeru ve'asitem et kol mitzvotai, vehitem kedoshim lelohehem. Ani Adonai Elohehem, asher hotzeiti etem me'eretz Mitzrayim, liot lahem le'elohim. Ani Adonai Elohehem. We read responsively on page 71. True and upstanding, beloved and precious, awesome and powerful, good and beautiful is the eternal word for us.
In truth, the God of the universe is our ruler. The rock of Jacob is our protecting shield. Throughout the generations, God is established, and God's name is established. God's words endure forever, faithful and precious through all eternity.
You have redeemed us from Egypt, eternal our God, and rescued us from the house of bondage.
For this, your beloved people praised you, exalted you as God, singing songs of praise, blessings, and thanks.
The sovereign, ever-living God is exalted and awesome, humbles the proud and raises the lowly, frees the captive, rescues the humble, helps the poor, and answers the people when they cry.
All blessings to God Most High. Moses and all Israel sang together the song of rejoicing, our Michamocha, on the next page.
Michamocha ba'elim Adonai, Michamocha nedar ba'kodesh, Michamocha ba'elim Adonai, Michamocha nedar ba'kodesh. Nora tehilot osei pele, Nora tehilot osei pele, Adonai melech leolam ba'ed. Shira chadasha shimechu geulim, לשמחה על שפת הים, יחד כולם הודו, והמליכו ואמרו, אדוני מלך Be'ezrat Yisrael ufedei chinu mecha Yehuda Israel go aleinu go aleinu go aleinu Adonai Tzevaot Shemo Kedosh Yisrael Baruch Ata Adonai Ga'al Yisrael.
For those who are able, we rise together for our tefillah, page 74.
Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei Avoteinu ve'Imoteinu Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak ve'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel ve'Elohei Leah האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי מתים אתה רב להושיע. מוריד הטל, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי מתים ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ברופאי חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר, מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומידו מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות מתים. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי המתים. נקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב על יד נביאך, וקרא זה זה ואמר, קדוש 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוך כל הארץ כבודו. אדיר אדירנו אדוני אדוננו, מאדיר שמך בכל הארץ, ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו. אחד הוא רחמיו לעיני כל חי. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהייך ציון, לדור ודור. הללויה. לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש. תשיבך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
In every generation we will tell your greatness, and to all eternity proclaim your holiness. You praise, O God, will never end. Depart from our lips. Blessed are you, Adonai, the holy God.
Page 79.
ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקוראי עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקוראי עונג שבת. מקדשי שבי שבת, כולם ישבעו ויתענגו מטובך שבת. ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקוראי עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקוראי עונג שבת. ובשביעי רצית בו וקידשתו שבת. חמדת ימים אותו קראת שבת. ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקוראי עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקוראי עונג שבת. זכר למעשה בראשית שבת. זכר למעשה בראשית שבת. ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקוראי עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקוראי עונג שבת.
Our God and God of our ancestors, may our rest be pleasing to you. Make us holy through your mitzvot, and grant us a share in your Torah. Satisfy us with your goodness, gladden us with your salvation, and purify our hearts to serve you in truth. With love and desire, bestow upon us your holy Sabbath. May Israel, who rests on Shabbat, sanctify your name. Blessed are you, Adonai, who makes the Sabbath day holy. Desire, Adonai, our God, your people Israel, and with love accept our prayers. And may the worship of Israel, your people, always be pleasing in your sight. O God, who is close to all who cry out, turn your face toward your servants and be gracious unto us. Pour out your Spirit upon us, and with mercy let our eyes behold your return to Zion. Blessed are you, Adonai, who restores the divine presence to Zion. We continue responsively on page 83. We are grateful that you are forever our God and God of our ancestors, that you are the rock of our life, our protector and our Savior.
We thank you and sing your praises for our lives which are in your hands, and for our souls which are in your care, and for the miracles that are with us each day, and for the wondrous gifts that you bestow at all times, evening, morning, and midday.
Kind one, whose mercies never fail, merciful one, whose binding love will never end, you have forever been our hope.
Our Savior and Protector, let all who live affirm you and praise your name in truth. Blessed are you, Adonai, whose essence is goodness, and who is worthy of our gratitude.
Grant peace, goodness, and blessing, grace, loving kindness, and mercy to us, and to all your people Israel. Bless us, source of life, each of us with the light of your presence. For by that light you have given us, eternal our God, a living Torah, an unbreakable love, justice, blessing, and mercy, life, and peace. May it be worthy in your sight to bless your people Israel, now and always with your peace. Blessed are you, Adonai, who blesses your people Israel with shalom.
Sim shalom, sim shalom, sim shalom, tova uveracha, chen v'chesed berachamim aleinu me'al kol Yisrael amecha. Sim shalom, sim shalom. Baruch atah Adonai hamivarech et amo Yisrael b'shalom.
We take a few moments for silent prayer.
Shalom aleinu me'al kol Yisrael me'imeru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael me'imeru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael me'imeru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. My Torah portion for this Shabbat, Parshat Shoftim, is located in the book of Deuteronomy and the Torah. It speaks about many different ideas, but is primarily focused on the idea of justice. Moses commands the Israelites, "Justice, justice shall you pursue." In Parshat Shoftim, Moses reviews the justice system for the Israelites, including the commands to appoint judges and legal officials. There must be at least 2 witnesses of a crime for the death penalty to be imposed, and that if a case is too complicated for the original court, the case is to be sent to a higher court. All of these commands still occur throughout the world, including in Israel and in the United States. Other commandments in Parshat Shoftim include establishing regulations for choosing a king or leader, making offerings for a priest, the difference between a true and false prophet, and establishing sites of refuge for people that have accidentally committed a crime. These are all interesting ideas. However, the focus of my Devar Torah is the commandment about regulations in warfare. Although there are many other commandments I could have focused on, I chose regulations in warfare because it is as relevant in today's society as it was in Moses' time. In fact, some of the laws of warfare established in Parshat Shoftim are represented in Israel's current military laws. Retaining humanity in the face of war is crucial in Judaism. In fact, Parshat Shoftim asks us to call her to peace. God commands us to make every attempt at peace before resorting to war, which should only be a final measure after all other available peaceful measures are exhausted. However, if war is unavoidable, Parshat Shoftim teaches us that warfare can be conducted humanely. Central to the idea of conducting warfare humanely are the ideas that you should offer peace terms to an enemy before attacking, and that you should not cut down trees in your enemy's cities. I chose to focus on these ideas because I think it is more important than ever to not resort to war, but to first promote a peaceful resolution. The Torah instructs us to seek peaceful resolutions to a conflict with our enemies and to offer terms to enemies before attacking. Offering peace before battles was very common in early Jewish wars, such as the Jewish-Babylonian War, which occurred from approximately 601 BCE to 586 BCE. Abraham Ibn Ezra, one of the most distinguished Jewish biblical commentators from the 12th century, believes that the Torah instructs us, when you approach a city against which you are planning to make war, you shall first call the city to surrender peacefully. As we are constantly reminded in the news about daily conflicts, it sometimes becomes difficult to see how we have maintained morality during times of war or conflict. Frequently, the news informs us of bombings and airstrikes being conducted around Israel. However, what is not reported is the Israeli Defense Force, or IDF, has made over 165,000 calls to residents in neighboring countries, warning them of planned bombings or airstrikes. In addition, Israel engages in a strategy called roof knocking, in which the IDF drops non-explosive devices or low-yield devices in an attempt to get people to evacuate buildings before destructive airstrikes occur. The United States military has used the same strategy in 2016 in its fight against ISIS. Although many of us may not view this strategy as offering peace, by providing warnings prior to engaging in military actions, we are giving people a chance to seek safety, and in a way offering them a form of peaceful resolution. As the Torah instructs us, even those armed will not be hurt, because we are not to shed blood unnecessarily. Providing warnings before engaging in airstrikes may not be beneficial to Israel from a military standpoint, but this measure greatly minimizes harm to others, and in doing so follows the idea of engaging in warfare in a humane manner. Discussing warfare and the pursuit of justice is a common theme throughout history. But how does this discussion relate to our environment and natural resources? Although concerning a military campaign involving laying siege to a city, the following passage engages us to take responsibility for our natural environment. The Torah says, when you lay siege to a city for a long time, fighting against it to capture it, do not destroy its trees by putting an axe to them, because you can eat their fruit, do not cut them down. Are the trees people that you should besiege them? However, you may cut down the trees that you know are not fruit trees, and use them to build fortifications until the city at war with you falls. It is well known that war is destructive, therefore we value peace. However, in conducting warfare, destruction need not be needless. As noted in the Torah, we rely upon our natural resources for many things. Whether it is relying upon trees as a source of wood or as a source of food, born from this idea that when engaging in warfare, we should not seek to destroy everything merely for the sake of destruction, is that we should not deprive yourself and others of a productive resource. Rabbi Samson Raphael Hirsch, a 19th century Orthodox rabbi, known for founding the Torah Derech Eretz School of Contemporary Orthodox Judaism, and Abraham Ibn Ezra, agree with the idea of preserving our world and not destroying trees. Rabbi Hirsch said, "We are commanded to rule the fish of the sea, the birds of the sky, the cattle, the whole earth, not to pollute its waters and air, or waste its precious resources or beautiful forests. Such careless destruction endangers not only our planet, but human life as well." As Rabbi Hirsch instructs us, we are responsible for the earth and our environment, and should not be causing harm to the earth or its resources, because that harm to the environment will affect us. Abraham Ibn Ezra stated that one does not destroy its environment because the destruction of the environment results in self-destruction. Like Rabbi Hirsch, Abraham Ibn Ezra instructs us that we depend on the environment, and that in harming the environment, we are engaging in a form of harm to ourselves. I agree with the opinions of Rabbi Hirsch and Abraham Ibn Ezra. Our natural resources, such as trees, are essential not only to the natural world, but to humans as well. We are reminded every day how important our environment is, every time we eat fruits that were picked from trees and breathe oxygen released by trees. The Torah instructs us it is not acceptable to engage in needless destruction, even if such destruction is on our enemy's land, as we rely upon the earth and its resources for life. We are reminded by the Torah that we have a responsibility to be good stewards and not waste the precious gifts that have been given to us. From this idea springs conversation of life and our natural resources. The idea of not cutting down trees in an enemy city, dating from 641 to 609 BC, can be viewed as one of the first representations of environmental responsibility and as the basis for some of our first environmental laws. We view the protection of our natural resources as a current issue that is driven by modern principles, but the Torah reminds us that taking care of the earth and its critical resources was a priority centuries ago too. Parshat Shoftim discusses how our axes should be wielded against our enemies and not the trees, because trees are important for our own survival. Within this idea of not to destroy, we are also being instructed not to waste. Whether it be our natural resources, such as trees and water, or our food, such as fruit from the apple tree. This priority of taking care of nature and the environment is still very relevant in our current society. There are many ways Israel has followed this centuries-old idea from the Torah to support the environment today. Examples of this range from toilets that require no water to the invention of drip irrigation that has helped to greatly revolutionize agriculture by conserving more water. And Israel has established many wildlife protection programs to help reintroduce endangered species back into their native habitats. Some of these species include Persian fallow deer, Galilee, and various species of bats throughout Israel. As in the past, today we are reminded that waste is another form of needless destruction. Although my Devar Torah discusses the commandment addressing the regulations of warfare and our responsibility for our environment, as its core, I believe Parshat Shoftim's primary focus is on fairness in our treatment of others. The Torah reminds us that we should be respectful of others, whether it is their opinions or ideas or their resources. Although these ideas were established long ago in the Torah and are sometimes forgotten, they are no less important today. Thank you, and Shabbat Shalom.
For the spirit of learning, we now move to our Torah service on page 89 in our prayer book. For the honor of opening the ark, we welcome Jack's brother Reed and Lador Vador from generation to generation. We welcome Ashley and Dan, Fran and Bill, Huguenine, and Sandy and Alan Stern. We rise together.
Ein kamocha ba'Elohim Adonai, ve'ein kemasecha, malechutecha malechut kol olamim, u'memshaltecha bechol dor v'dor. Adonai melech, Adonai malach, Adonai melech leolam va'ed. Adonai oz le'amo yitein, Adonai yevarech et amo b'shalom.
Good morning, and thank you for joining us today for Jack's Bar Mitzvah. We appreciate the commitment of everyone who has made to join us for this special day. The date for Jack's Bar Mitzvah was set 3 years ago, and he's been working hard since 4th grade to prepare for this day. And if you had asked us 12 months ago if we'd be able to celebrate this special milestone in person and in the company of family and friends, we would have said no. But here we are celebrating together, some in person and some virtually. In the Jewish faith, the bar mitzvah represents the transition from childhood to adulthood. However, the transition is not immediate. It has been occurring over the last 13 years and has been influenced by his family and friends, many of which are present here today. We would be remiss if we did not acknowledge your namesakes, Jack Feinstein and Julius Lewis Bloomberg, both of which were committed to their family and friends, who I'm confident are watching today and would be so proud of you. Jack, we are so proud of you as well for what you've done today, leading the congregation in prayer this morning, but more than that, we're proud of the wonderful young man you've become. You're conscientious, hardworking, friendly, and outgoing. You are a leader, both in school and on the soccer field. You are warm and caring to your friends, and most importantly, strangers, and most of the time to your brother, Reed. As you become a bar mitzvah today, making the passage into adulthood, we want to take some time to remind you of the significance of this moment for you, your family, and your faith. In your Torah portion, Shoftim, Moses establishes the framework of the judicial system, including requiring fairness in the administration of justice. Fairness prohibits the showing of partiality among people in the administration of law, meaning administering justice without corruption or favoritism. In the administration of justice, you are responsible not only for what you do, but also for what you can prevent being done. Your actions can and must positively influence the result. Your Torah portion is fitting for a son of 2 lawyers. In the practice of law, and more importantly, in life, both actions and inactions have consequences. As Shoftim encourages fairness in the administration of justice, it also encourages treating people with justice by being impartial and fair. Treating people with justice requires curiosity, acting ethically and with honesty, and being impartial and courageous. Curiosity is the willingness and desire to learn, to ask questions, and search for answers. Acting ethically is to act with fairness in your treatment of others by being equitable and respecting others' rights. Honesty requires following the facts. Not only does honesty involve telling the truth, but it means to be honest with yourself about who you are and what you want in life. To be impartial means to be objective, fair, and unbiased. This means not being influenced by a person's identity, race, religion, gender, wealth, or relationship to you. And courage is the strength to do what is required, even though you know it may not always be the popular choice.
As we have told you over the years, it is important to be a leader, to take ownership for your actions or inactions, whether in the classroom or on the field. As a leader, we challenge you to embrace your curiosity. Continue to ask questions and seek answers to allow you to determine what is right and what is wrong so that you can promote justice. Be honest, not only with others, but with yourself about who you are and what you want to do in life. Always act ethically. Be fair in your treatment of others, even when you may not always be treated the same. Be impartial. Treat everyone with respect and always respect other people's opinions. Although we may not always agree with others' opinions, by acting impartial, we learn not only about others' beliefs, but also about what is important to us. Although only 13 years old, we believe you, Jack, embody these traits. You are always curious at home and in the classroom. You treat others, whether friend or strangers, with fairness and kindness. You treat people with respect, and importantly, respect others' opinions, values, and beliefs. You are honest, even if it may get you in a little bit of trouble. Your growth this past year in school has been absolutely remarkable, and to us, it is clear that this growth stems from these traits. As parents, we strive to figure out how we could best support you as an individual, but ultimately you chose your own path and pushed yourself to work hard. As you have done for nearly 13 years throughout life, we challenge you to continue to be curious, kind, fair, and respectful of others. Of course, we are proud of how you performed today, but that's not nearly as important as the fact that we are incredibly proud of the young man that you've become. We love you, Mazel Tov, and Shabbat Shalom.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo, Gadlul Adonai iti, uneromema Shemo yachtav, Lecha Adonai hagedula v'hagebura v'hatiferet v'hanetzach v'hahod, ki chol b'shamayim u'ba'aretz, ki chol b'shamayim u'ba'aretz, lecha Adonai hamamlacha v'hamitnaseh lechol lerosh.
Once again, it's Parshat Shoftim. For those who want to follow in our plowed commentary, for those, it's in the back of the end of the sanctuary.
We now call Jack's aunts and uncles to the Torah, EJ and Dan Bierman, Mark Stern, David and Kristen Hugenine. Ya'amdu l'aliyah la Torah.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bahar banu mikol ha'amim. Natan lanu et Toratu. Baruch Atah Adonai Neten ha'Torah.
Amen.
Amen. Ki tetzei lamilhama al oiveha v'ra'ita sus v'rehev am rav mimha lo tira mehem ki Adonai Elohecha imach hamaleha me'eretz Mitzrayim v'haya kekaruvhem el hamilhama v'nigash hakohen v'diber el ha'am v'amar alehem shema Yisrael atem kerevim hayom lamilhama al oivehem al yerak levavhem al tiru v'al takbezu v'al ta'artsu mipnehem.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torat emet, v'chayei olam nata b'techenu. Baruch atah Adonai Neten ha'Torah.
Amen. Yasher koach. We now call Jack's grandparents, Sandy and Alan Stern, and Fran and Bill Hugenine, to the Torah. Ya'amdu la'aliyah la Torah. We got it nice and big for you. There's always a leader, but Alan, come a little closer. Okay, Alan, you lead.
Baruch es Adonai Hambarach.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Leolam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bochar banu mikol ha'amim v'nosan lanu es Torasav. Baruch atah Adonai nosein ha'Torah.
Amen.
Amen. Ki Adonai Elohehem Haholek imahem, lihilahem lahem, imoivehem lehoshiatatem. Vidibru hashoturim, el ha'am lemor, mi ha'ish, asher banach vayitkadash, vilo hanacho, yelek v'yashov leveto, pinialmut, Bamilhama v'ishaher yechanechenu umi ha'ish asher nata kerem v'lo hililo yelek v'yashov leveto pinialmut bamilhama v'ishaher yehalelenu.
Baruch atah Eloheinu melech haolam, asher nosan lanu Toras emes, v'chayei olam nota b'sochenu. Baruch atah Adonai nosein ha'Torah.
Amen. Yasher koach. We now invite Ashley and Dan Hugenine, parents of the bar mitzvah, Iya Amtu la Aliyah la Torah.
Baruch Hu et Adonai Hambarak.
Baruch Adonai Barak Leolam Vaed.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher b'rabanu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen.
Amen. Umi ha'ish asher eras isha v'lo lekaha yelek v'yashov leveto peni almut b'milhama v'ishaher yikahena v'yasfu hashoturim ledaber el ha'am v'ameru mi ha'ish hayare v'rak halevav yelek v'yashov leveto v'lo yimas et lavavehav kilvavo v'haya ki kalo tashotrim ledaber al ha'am ufaktu sare sivaot birosh ha'am.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah tamet, v'haya olam nata b'tekenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen. And finally, we call Jack himself up to the Torah. This is what some people might consider the moment of becoming bar mitzvah traditionally. Ya'amod Yaakov ben Aniel Aliyah la Torah habar mitzvah.
Baruch Hu et Adonai Hambarak.
Baruch Adonai
Hambarak leolam vaed.
Baruch Adonai Hambarak leolam vaed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bahar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen.
Ki tigrav el ir lihilahem aleha, v'karata eleha lishalom. V'haya im shalom tanha ufata lach, v'haya kol ha'am hanim sava yihu leha lamas va'avaduha, v'im lo tashlim imak v'asta imha milhama v'tzarta aleha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'hayei olam nata b'toheinu. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen. And Mazel Tov.
As the Torah is within our presence, we take time to think of those in our community who are in need of body, of healing, or spirits. On this Shabbos, we think of Linda Applebaum, Cindy Silberman Bailey, Sophia Berry, Callie Bonds, Harold Seitling, Deborah Chagua, Karen Edwards, Ruth Grafman Fromstein, Edward Goldberg, Barbara Goldstone, Elaine Gross, Josie Hatfield, Evelyn Held, Donna and Maida Himmel, Norma Jill Jacobson, Corey Kessler, Laney Klein, Bart Colbert, Jerry Lapidus, Priscilla Leaf, Wayne Lewis, Jeffrey Muss, Susie Osen, David Siegel, Liz Slive, Chrissy St. Charles, Brenda Weinstein, Jesse Weisberg, Emily Weidman, and Elisa Rosemore Whitehead. We continue with our Mishabera.
Avotenu mekol the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us. Help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mi sheperach imotenu mekor habracha la'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
For the honor of lifting and dressing the Torah, we welcome Joy and Jared Kaplan to the bima, and we rise together.
V'zot Torah asher sam Moshe lifnei bnei Yisrael, al pi Adonai b'yad Moshe. Every week in the Jewish tradition, we read a particular segment of the Torah, and there is a section from the prophets that is connected to that section of the Torah, either in theme or in some other way. And this week, we are reading from Isaiah for our Haftarah section. And in that section, Isaiah tells the exiled people of Israel to be sure that God will restore them to the land of Israel.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bahar bin ve'im tovim v'ratza v'divrehem hane'emarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai haboher b'torah uv Moshe avdo, uv Yisrael amo, uv invieh ha'emet v'tzedek.
Amen.
Suru, suru tze'u misham, tameh al tigau, tze'u mitoka hibaru, nosei klei Adonai, ki lo v'hipazo netetzeu, uvim nusa lo telehu, ki holek lifnehem Adonai, umasifhem Elohei Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Shukol ha'olamim, Sadiq behol haderot, ha'el ha'ne'eman, ha'omer ve'oseh, hamdaber kaye, shekol devarav, emet v'tzedek. All ha'torah, ve'al ha'avodah, ve'al ha'nevi'im, ve'al yom ha'shabbat ha'zed, shenatata lanu, Adonai Eloheinu, likdu shavalim nuha, lehavod utifaret. Al hakol, Adonai Eloheinu, anaknu modim lak, umvarhim otak, yitbarak shimha befikol hai tamid lelam vaed. Baruch atah Adonai,
Baruch Shemo.
Mekadesh HaShabbat.
Amen. Mazel tov.
Even with the pandemic last year, so many Jewish kids across the country, their heart was broken when camp was canceled. But thank God it wasn't this year, and we know how much camp means to Jack. And so far, we want to bring up his camp friends from Jacob's Camp to come up as they lead our congregation for the prayer for the country and for the state of Israel on page 129. And we rise together. You good? Come on, guys, hold on. Your stuff are good. Looking good. Okay. Stylish. Okay.
Our God and God of our ancestors, we ask your blessings for the United States of America, for its government, the office of our president, and its advisors and counselors. We pray for our Congress, our governor, our legislators, and for all who tend to the welfare of our community. Bless them with strength and compassion. Help them to be wise in all their deliberations and just in all of their dealings. Guide to the fortunes of our land. Protect us. May we and our children dwell in safety and security. May all the inhabitants of our land live in freedom from fear and freedom from want. Broaden our spirits so we might live in accordance with the highest principles of our land. Blot out our bigotry and hatred, and help us to work together in concord to advance your will. May our country be a beacon of justice and freedom to be the repressed of our world. Guard us today and tomorrow, and bestow your providence upon all of our fellow citizens. And together we say, Amen. Our God and God of our ancestors, Rock of Israel and its Redeemer, bless the state of Israel, the first flowering of our redemption. Protect her with your encompassing love, and spread over her your sukkah of peace. May her leaders be imbued with your spirit of wisdom. Strengthen those who are charged to protect our holy land, and may they return their duties to their families and loved ones with shalom. Bestow peace, prosperity, and happiness to all the inhabitants of the state of Israel. And together we say, Amen.
We remain standing as we return the Torah back to the ark.
Hallelujah, et Shem Adonai, ki niskav shemo levado. Hodol eretz v'shamayim,
first, on behalf of the clergy, our senior staff, and our board of directors, Jack, we want to wish you a mazel tov on such a wonderful job this morning. There's a perfect Talmudic text that best speaks to you. More that I've learned from my students than from my teachers. And your Devar Torah was so outstanding that I think I have to delete my high holiday sermons because it was that much better. But what you've demonstrated is such a passion and commitment to your Jewish knowledge. And seeing you up here take such command of Parshat Shoftim, taking such command of your prayers, the Aliyot and Haftarah, it makes Cantor and I so excited, and this is why we love being rabbis and cantors. You were flawless. You did an incredible job. But I promise you in life, sometimes we will face adversities. But what you have done today teaches us that with hard work and dedication, not just for the reward, but from your neshama, you can get through anything. You are a gittim neshama, which in Yiddish means it's the highest honor that we could bestow upon someone with a Shem Tov, a good name. You are so kind, you are so wonderful, and I remember our educator, Lena Gutchin, was bragging about you way before I came and said, wait till you see this fine young man. So on behalf of Temple, Mazel Tov, we hope to see you leading us in prayers for the high holidays and other festivals. I know your parents will sign you up, right? Okay. And we have some gifts for you. Your certificate of Bar Mitzvah, which will go next to your contract with Leeds United. Sock team, guys. Come on. Okay. Also, from the Rabbi Graffin Endowment Fund, scholarship dollars to be used for camp, and from a certificate from the Union of Reform Judaism, certificate for you to go to Eretz Israel, your indigenous homeland, for you to study and grow in any form of a program, and our sisterhood and brotherhood for you have beautiful Shabbat candlesticks. We ask the congregation to rise once more as we take you before the ark.
Adonai Eloheinu melech
standing for Aleinu, page 99.
עלינו לשמח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, מגורלנו ככל המונם. מה אנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
We remember these, our beloved, not to be sad, but to remember. Our sorrow that accompanies their death does not diminish their joyful gift that was their lives. We remember their kindness, their nobility, and especially their goodness. They taught us to live, to laugh, remembering us through the grace of their best selves. They have showered us with love and with light. On this Shabbat, we recall the Yortzites of Anne Weinstein Blankstein, Elena Bliss, Flora B. Blutman, Chana Boger, Chaim Bronstein, Vernon Cohen, Arthur R. Datnoff, Alan Eisenberg, Bob Engel, Florine Capper Ettinger, Sidney Finkel, Jerome E. Freeling, Francis P. Freed, Isidore Friedman, Paul Friedman Sr., May G. Friend, Fanny Goldfarb, Victor Goldman, Arnold Goldner, Max Greenwald, Walter E. Gregg, Morris Herskovitz, Leo Arthur Jaffe, Hannah Wheel Jenkins, Elvin Cantor, Hannah Kelly, Essie Kirkle, Francis M. Levine, Maxine Marlowe Lichtenstein, Pauline Berman Malkov, Harry Markstein Jr., Marilyn Adler Mark, Saul Madelson, Sam Mayer, Max Moore, Leroy G. Munsky Sr., Mildred Pines, Richard Allen Routman, Harold R. Safras, Francis Leslie Savage, David Schimmel, Inez Schimmel, Charles Scholwolf, Abraham Shapiro, Sam Schulman, Ann Copeland Silverman, Arnold Singer, Estelle Slaughter, Lee E. Unger, Muriel Weisberg, and Joe B. Wright Jr. Our heartfelt condolences in the recent passing of Annette Applebaum Bain, aunt of Kit Roth, Ronald Beasley, friend of Chase Callahan, Wilma Denny, mother of David Denny, Amy Rochelle Green, niece of former congregants Ralph and Sheila Green, Lucian Hagedorn, husband of Jean, Leonard Fred Halprin, husband of Anne, Bennett and Tucker Meads, friends of Jody Robinson, and Becky Seitel, wife of Alan and Jack. You have so beautifully honored the memories of Evelyn Bloomberg, Julius Lewis Brumberg, Jack Feinstein and Ruby Feinstein, Harry Hugenine Jr., and Richard Clamian. May all their memories forever be a blessing. We rise together as a united congregation for a mourner's Kaddish on page 103. Yikadal, Yikadash, Shmei Rabbah, Bioma Divrach Hirote, Vamlich Malchute, Bechayachon of Yomechon, Uf Kayet, the called Beit Yisrael, Bagala Uizman Kari V'Yimru.
Amen.
Yehei Shmei Rabbah Mevarach Li'olam Olamei Amaya. Yit Barach V'Yishtabach V'Yit Ba'ar V'Yit Romam V'Yit Naseh V'Yit Adar V'Yit Alev V'Yit Alal Shmei Kudsha
Barichu.
Le'ela Min Kol Birchata V'Shirata Tushvechata V'Nechamata Daminram B'Alma V'Yimru.
Amen.
Yehei Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya L'chaim Aleinu V'Yakol Yisrael V'Yimru Amen. Oseh Shalom B'Mromav Huyaseh Shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. V'yimru. Amen.
Ose shalom bimromav, uyase shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, me'imeru. Amen.
As we conclude, this is what I'm going to attempt to do as we all have our masks on tightly. We're going to bring back Ashley and Dan, Reed, and Jack to the center of the lectern, and we're going to invite all of the kiddos, all of the kids, come on up to the bima and celebrate with the closing of Ein Kelohenu's, which is Freudenthals. But anyway, come on up, all the kids. Those are Freudenthals. But anyway, come on up, wear those masks, and enjoy the moment.
Ein Keloheinu, ein Kadonenu, ein Kemalkeinu, ein Kemoshienu, mich Eloheinu, mich Adonenu, mich Emalkeinu, mich Moshienu, Nod el Eloheinu, Nod el Adonenu, Nod el Emalkeinu, Nod el Moshienu, Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu, Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adonenu, Atahu Malkeinu, Atahu Moshienu.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen.
Amen.
It's real, I'm just kidding, okay.
Baruch atah Adonai,
Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lehem min haaretz.
Amen.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Good Shabbos.
in the Abrams Hall on the lower level for a luncheon, hosted by his grandparents.